Hey, what's up guys? Another solo stream Saturday. Welcome to Mo and Joe. Give it a few minutes for everybody to kind of jump into the stream, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Today's going to be a little bit different. We're doing a shop tour. I don't know, I just figured I haven't shown you guys in the stream around my shop. There's a video on my shop that's kind of somewhat it's kind of somewhat current. You can check out last year's shop tour. But I've done quite a bit since then. I've upgraded a few tools, kind of built a few islands, if you will. I've got the dust collection installed, so I want to kind of show you guys around the shop today instead of the usual making something. So little change up, but it should be fun. We've got a couple people in chat. Let me know if the audio and video is okay in chat if you're in here, and go ahead and drop a like on the video if you're just joining. This is my Sunday morning. That's now a Saturday morning Mo and Joe. I think I'm gonna do it on Saturdays going forward. What do you guys think about that? Does Saturday work better for everybody? I got a lot of comments about people being in church and stuff like that on Sundays and it being more difficult. I don't mind doing it Saturday mornings. I don't mind giving up one of my mornings to hang out with you guys. So whatever works best for everybody else. Honestly, I'm not too worried about it. Projects today on what I need to do around the shop, something I could do with you guys. And I really just want to kind of show you guys around. The shop's made a bunch of strides and there's a lot of cool new things. We've got the usual stuff, you know, we share makers of the week. The links to those are in the comments down below if you want to check those out, or in the description down below. And hey mom, good morning. And my mom watches my stream, so that's good. Anybody else, everybody else, the audio good, the video good, just double checking. But we'll go ahead and jump into the shop tour though. But today, normal stuff today, we're gonna do makers of the week. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end, so get ready with those questions. And then we are also going to make something, but in this case, I'm just gonna kind of show you the place where I make stuff. So a little bit different. Let's get into it. You're gonna see a lot of me jumping into the camera to move it. Hopefully I can do it mostly from in front of the camera, but if not, we'll bear with us, okay? So, first off, I'll roll you guys over here. This is kind of my general workbench area, and then I've got my miter saw rolled over here. I am actually planning on I just started putting together the cut list and everything for the permanent home of my chop saw station. I ran it on this Rockler cart for a bit just to make sure that I was happy with it and to kind of see some of the challenges around dust collection with the saw. But I'm going to address those in the final design. But this is kind of my general workshop area. It's usually where, unfortunately, I'm sure all you guys have this in your shop, it's where kind of stuff accumulates, unfortunately. I do have lots of cabinets over here. I did a sponsored renovation of my garage a year back with Home Depot. And that really helped out with getting the cabinets to the level they're at right now. But over here, this is my 3D printer cabinet. It's where my 3D printer lives, as well as a couple of my mortising machines. You'll see those in a video coming up here pretty soon, where I'm going to be doing the Workbench. Great for mortising, big heavy stock. This is just kind of general purpose wrenches. I don't know, I just kind of like the look of that setup. Just a couple magnet strips. Nonsense. More nonsense. I think down here is where I keep my sandpaper. It's all my sandpaper storage is down there. And then over in these cabinets, I've got my, I've got the Frankenstrop, which is the Harbor Freight belts and disc sander flipped on its side that I use that for stropping and polishing. I got some spray paint and some nonsense down there as well. Then over here, I kind of keep my miscellaneous, less often used tools. So up top, I've got my circular saws, you know, sanding and whatnot. Got a small backup compressor if I need it, reciprocating saws, grinders. Use that for all kinds of stuff. I'll rotate you guys around here so you can kind of just follow around the way the shop's laid out. So that's right by the door where I come in. Then if we go this way, this is a recent and unnecessary but awesome addition. So I used a set of K&N Crowder barn door hardware or sliding door hardware to install this beautiful spalted maple slab. to cover up this ugly door and also to limit some of the light coming through. You see it's got this weird, like, you know, screen printed window kind of thing. I'll rehang a new door soon, but for now it's just covering it up works fine. And then I've got some wall control boards over here. And my daughters are doing some painting. I've got a wall control board here where I kind of keep some regularly used stuff that's at least like shallow storage. So I've got my dado stack. I've got some squares and straight edges, my branding iron, nips and snips, and then some of the things that I need to service my jointer, planer, things like that. I've got the wrenches for all those blades. You can see, no you probably can't, but I'll show you in just a minute. Then over here, I put back up the sanding station. This is actually the first build video on the Mo and Joe stream. This is just some MDF stacked together, and actually this I used some cardboard shelves, just something I wanted to try out. Moving on from here, we'll go into this little section, which is where I keep my jointer, my compressor, my dust collector, and the whole thing. This is kind of like I mean, other than the jointer, this is kind of like the utility closet. You got some lagging, Norman? Let me see if I can adjust the bit rate a little bit. Pardon me for just a minute. Can I lower this to say, let's go to 2000. Apply. Okay. Let's see how that works. Let me know if that's any better, okay, Norman? Yes, I am so busy, Mom. This is what I'm up to now. So this is kind of the utility cabinet set up here. Let me bring you guys in just a little bit. All right. So over here, I've got a TV. I rarely get to use this because whenever I'm making a video, I'm worried about having any sort of like copyrighted content or whatever on screen. But of course, playing my own videos, no big deal. But sometimes when I'm just like knocking out a project, like the other day, I worked on the clamp wall. I'm gonna show you just a little bit. I did it mostly off camera, or maybe shooting a little bit of stuff for Instagram. With that stuff, I'm not worried about it. This is actually me making that door. Cool. So I've got my jointer. This is an 8-inch jointer from Laguna with their what's it called? Their spiral head. I think they call it Shear Tech, I think is their technology. I don't know, I might be confusing those with somebody else. But this is a phenomenal jointer, 8 inches. 8-inch jointer should be good for most people. I would definitely skip the 6, that's what I started with. No matter what size jointer you get, you're gonna want a bigger one. That's just how life goes. I would love to have a 40-inch jointer, but I don't think they even make them, and if they did, I'd probably chop my arm off. Either way, 8-inch jointer is a good place to start. Allows you to kind of manage up to about 8-inch stock comfortably. And then you can also, using the ledge method, if you have a good planer that's wider than that, you can do 12, 16, 18-inch stock if you need to. Yes, moving on. I have my compressor, just a little boss stitch. I'd really like to upgrade this to a standing model because otherwise I have just wasted space down here anyway. And this thing kicks on all the time when I'm running any air tools. I don't run air tools terribly often, but I'm starting to a little bit more frequently. With the pin and brad nailers, I do tend to prefer the air models when I can easily just stretch a hose out. They just tend to give me more consistent strikes than the electric models, but the electric models are so convenient, I'll always use those. And then this is the dust collection project. I'm actually working on editing this video right now. Let me bring you guys a little bit closer so you can kind of see some of the details. Let me zoom out. Okay, that's as far as we go. Okay, so this is the dust collector. This started out as a Harbor Freight blower. Harbor Freight dust collector, the 2 horsepower model. I upgraded it by adding a Cyclone. This is the Oneida 4-inch Cyclone. It's actually done a pretty fantastic job. I've done a lot of work, and really like this is all I've got out of filling that bucket twice. So I'm pretty happy with it. The biggest frustration with doing this way as opposed to just using something out of the box is that honestly, the Harbor Freight thing is just not as airtight, not as precise as some of these nicer things are. And they've also addressed a lot of the problems with dust collection at the factory there. So with this one, I had to use a lot of tape to clean it up. But I do like the fact that it's a nice compact setup on the wall here. I like that it's got, I would like to upgrade the capacity, hopefully put a 55-gallon drum on here at some point. I don't even know if I have room for that though with the way that I installed the blower or the way I installed the filter, so we'll see. But then that just jumps off into a diagonal towards the ceiling. The other nice thing is that like all this shop is remote control for all of the stuff. So like this, if I wanted to turn on the dust collector, I've got a little remote right here. This is just a Harbor Freight like electronic lamp or a remote control lamp remote, and I can turn that on right away. I've also got the same switch going to my compressor. That way if it starts to kick on in the middle of a shot, I can just kick it off. And then number 2 zone over here turns on my dust collector for my table saw. I'll show you that in a little bit. Very cool. Let me actually get something set up. Charging a few batteries. Battery down. Good stuff. Okay, from there, we go into the side of my CNC cabinet. This is also tied into the dust collection, but you can see over here I have a little kind of tucked away charging station. I use this because since I get lots of tools in for review, I have most every battery system. I don't have any Bosch yet though, so I guess if anybody from Bosch is checking out, I'd love to see some of your tools, compare them to everything else. I've also got some of my long clamps. I'm not sure if you can see them, they're hidden back there. But I've got some of the Rockler bar clamps, and my pipe clamps are all just hiding back there. From here, we've got to roll over that 240-volt cable for the planer. And you can see here is where I keep my X-Carve. I haven't used it as much lately because, I don't know, I just haven't been really inspired to. The latest thing I did was that I did a marigold. I did for my daughter. I did a bench with her name on it, a little stool with her name on it. I did that on one of the Mo and Joe live streams. I don't know. I've had fun sharing those kind of things with you. Let me know if you want to see more advanced projects like that. I just feel like it takes up so much time on the stream. But I use it for all kinds of things. I was doing some prototyping on the materials for some saw blade storage racks here. This is clamped down. Most of the time though, I use this just for prototyping. Unless there's like, it's not very fun to watch on video over and over again, unless there's something that's like particularly unique challenge for it. But like I prototyped this design for a saw blade like storage drawer. Started to design some of these. Still need some work. I mean, obviously this is just kind of some scrap 1/2-inch plywood material, so I would need to be able to add some hardboard in the end, but cool setup there. Stop me at any point if you guys have any questions about what I'm showing you guys. Then over here in the corner, this is where I keep my bandsaw, and this is also where we finished the clamp wall that I showed you guys last week. So I've got the Laguna 18BX bandsaw. Really like this bandsaw now that I've hooked it up to dust collection. It's a very nice saw for dust collection. And then back behind me, I've got the clamp wall that we built on last week's Mo and Joe. Got it all finished up now and all organized up on the wall. I also added a couple little cleats that I could attach some pinch clamps on. So I've got all my Rockler pinch clamps there. And then over on the wall here, I've got the various track saw tracks that I have. So I've got one from the new Craig system, I've got my Festool, and then I've got these from True Track. These are some of the nicest tracks you're gonna use as far as quality. I've been wanting to do a shootout on track saws since I have the 3 of those, or the 4 of them that I actually have in my shop. I'd love to show you guys the difference between those. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments. Definitely would be interested in pursuing that if there's enough interest. Over here, whoa, that's a cool angle. Over here, we have just sort of my general tool storage and workbench. I'll bring you in tight on this workbench here in a minute. I've got the Shop Fox drill press. I'm not in love with it, but it gets the job done. I don't know if, is there, other than like the Nova, are there any like really good belt-driven drill presses? The Shop Fox seems to slip the belts a lot. Doesn't seem to have a ton of torque. 3/4 horsepower doesn't do quite what I would expect it to. But up on the wall, I've got some of my like everyday tool storage, some small part bins, and my hammers. This thing's a beast. If you don't have one of these, run out and get one right away. This is a 1 pound paint can mallet. And it's one of the best chisel mallets and one of the best assembly mallets that you're ever going to have. The rubber makes it really easy to use, plus it's got enough weight so it's going to do it, plus it's not going to blow up the ends of your chisels. I love this thing. I painted it white because I bought a Harbor Freight one. The cheap black rubber does mar a little bit, but if you paint it and fill all those pores with paint, I've also like put some super glue on the ends to harden it just a little bit. I don't know, this nasty looking mallet is one of my favorite tools in the shop, and I use it probably every day. But you can see the dust collection run coming down. This is for the drill press or just like cleaning up the workbench. The bandsaw is also on the dust collection. And then down below here, the thing I keep stepping over is yet another remote controlled friend here in the shop. Let me grab his remote. This is Mac. We call him Mac the Vac. Needs me on to be remote controlled. But he's my little shop robot friend. I'll see if I can grab him in a shot real quick. That's him down there. At the end of the day, I usually just turn it on and let it go and clean all the sawdust off my shop. These things are pretty expensive. They're used generally for like commercial warehouses and things like that. But if you plan on spending money on dust collection and don't like sweeping, Mac is a very good investment. We'll get you set back up here. I'll show you into my shop drawers. I'll have you pause for a minute, Mackie. So let me show you into my shop drawers here. So everything in my shop cabinet, well not everything, but most of it is all shadowed. So this is top drawer. I'm not sure if you've seen my video on like top 10 things to do as a maker woodworker. But number 1 is patience. Number 2 is precision. So this is sort of my precision drawer. This has all of my small squares. I've got these really awesome little ones from DFM. My daughters love to play with them. I've got the pink and purple, of course. Then I've got my levels, my laser measures. I've got these awesome things that every shop should have, varying on levels of precision based on what you actually like to do. But a set of precision blocks. These are the Rockler model. These are much cheaper than some of the machinist squares, but they're great for woodworking. I've got some brass precision blocks there. Of course, what shop is complete without a Jimmy DeResta ice pick? And I keep mine handily shadowed right here for when I need it. I've got a 25-foot, the Milwaukee stud has been my tape measure of choice. I've got the 25-foot that I don't use as often, but my 16-foot auto lock is missing right now. And for real precision woodworking, you've got your carpenter square for when you need to actually know a finite measurement as opposed to a relative measurement. So, got that guy. And then I keep a bunch of my Japanese saws up here for when I need to grab them. Probably need to find a better solution for those. Maybe a project in the future. Down here, I've got all my chisels. This is kind of where I keep just general chisels, sharpening. I've got the DMT sharpening stones down here. I've got a set of Veritas chisels that I use. I've got a bunch of sets of these Aldi's chisels that I use as beater chisels. And then I've got a set of these Harbor Freight chisels that I use as basically paint can openers at this point. The steel's so soft that they're kind of worthless. But if I need a sharp edge, they're really easy to sharpen. Beneath those is where I keep my drill bits and storage. So I've got some auger bits, which I'm done with. I'm going to get some better ones. I just ordered those. I've got the little Rockler quick drive set, 90 degree. A little electronic screwdriver, which I really don't use that often. Maybe I might try using that more often. I don't even remember what this is. Oh, hey, set of countersinks. I didn't even remember I had those. And I try to, anytime I get a package, I try to grab the Air Be Dry or whatever the silica packets, and I'll just throw those into a drawer. Try to keep rust off the tools as best I can. Down here, I've got some stuff I don't use as often. I don't think you can see what I'm looking at, so let me adjust you there. There you go. Down here, I keep a set of just, wrenches, monkey wrenches, and then some carpenter squares, and a set of needle nose pliers. These are more for like home maintenance stuff, but I like to keep it organized. And then down here is my junk drawer. There's just a bunch of stuff in there. Over on this side, this is where I keep hand planes, marking tools, pens, pencils. I keep all that over on this drawer. Here, I'll move you guys a little bit so you can see better. Anybody have any questions? I know I'm flying through this, so if you have any questions about this stuff, feel free to stop me. Or if there's anything that you want to see as I walk by it, I'd gladly go back and check it out. I was hoping this kind of be an interactive tour, so if anybody wants to see anything or has any questions about how I have anything laid out. So I keep my 2 number 4s here. Again, more air be dry, silicone packets. I definitely want to keep these from getting rusted. But my current 2 daily driver number 4s are, this is the Woodcraft. Yeah, this is the Wood River one from Woodcraft, which I do really like. And then this is my Veritas number 4. It's been probably my daily driver for the longest. I've got a Japanese smoothing plane back there in case I need it. And some of these for whenever you just need a big fat line, I guess. And all that stuff, good. And onto the next drawer, we've got more random number 5s, number 7s, block planes. Beneath that, this is all my safety gear. Keep gloves, mask for my daughter, goggles for myself when I need them, replacement RZ mask respirator, inserts, all that, and then another junk drawer. I keep super glue in here, I think the biggest thing. So I've got Tight Bond, and then one of the channel sponsors, Star Bond. I've got their accelerators and their glues all down here, rocking and rolling. Over here in the corner, so moving on from that, here I didn't show you this piece as we walked by, but this right here, this is actually just kind of where I keep the winners of the shootouts. Ooh, that was a big panel. That could have hurt. This is where I keep the winners of the shootouts. So you see I've got the left and right hand Milwaukee's right up there. So this is the left hand Milwaukee, right hand Milwaukee. Those are the winners of the circular saw shootout. These are my 4 current favorite drills. I've got the rigid 18 volts, although the hammer drill just disappointed me, but the Stealth Force, that'll always be in my top 5. And then we've got the Makita subcompact series. I like them because they're powerful, they're small and light, and they're black. That's cool too. And then the rigid jigsaw definitely works well, and then I have the rigid pin nailer up there. Moving on into this next little area, and I just dropped the top of my new workbench on the floor. So that could have hurt. It is a 3-inch by 11-inch white oak panel. Don't you do it. Don't you do it, panel. Move you somewhere secure. There you go. All right, so over here is where I keep my camera gear. This top cabinet is lenses. Over here, I think you can see that. I've got like my wireless lav setup. I've got all my charging station on this shelf. I've got a couple of waterproof containers. This is generally where I keep like out of use cameras. So the camera that I started my channel with was the Nikon D5300. And I don't know, I've never sold a camera. Maybe I should. But I've got him, he's safe. I cleaned him and he's safe and sound. Either waiting for a new home or for another visit. I mean, he's clean as he can be anyway. He's covered in epoxy and whatnot. But just nice to have a backup, I suppose. I keep them in these little waterproof containers, just in case. So I got that over here. I've got all my travel bags for when I go out of town, and then just some extra accessories for all the cameras. Down here is where I keep all my epoxy. Just keep it up and out of the way, and then also nice and organized. So I've got all my like stir sticks, cups, whatever over there. Doodly-doo. What we've been walking around this whole time is this over here. This is my 20-inch planer from Laguna. Also hooked up to dust collection. It's got its own blast gate right there. This thing has been a huge help in the shop. One of the underrated features of a spiral head jointer and planer is the size of the chips that they do. So the size of the chips that these create are way better for dust collection systems. They're just easier to pass through the whole system, and they don't clog as easily, and all that kind of stuff. The shavings of my old system, even hooking up to a shop vac, they would sometimes have issues. Sorry, I'm kind of moving stuff as I go. So moving on from there, you can kind of see, this is sort of my inbound, outbound, what have you, shelving system over here. Actually just seeing the side of a light right now. But this over here is sort of my inbound, outbound section of the shop. So whenever I have a project that's in flight, or I have a part that's for a project, or I have some parts that are acclimating, waiting to get put into a new project. Get rid of this nasty filter bag. Is waiting for a new project or a tool in for review, any of this stuff like that. It lives over here for a little bit. That way I have everything in one spot that I know I need to do something with. I need to reorganize it because it's terribly disorganized, but it's here. So at least when something comes in the shop, I know where to set it. I've got small parts bins down there that I can use if there's anything that's gonna be, that won't take up a whole shelf. Moving on. Oh yeah, and over here, this is also the dust collector. I've got this one dedicated to my circuit table saw, and it's on a control also. This is the Rockler, I think it's the 3/4 horsepower model, which is perfect for a good dust collection bandsaw like the Laguna. Works just fine. I've also got these Rockler 25-foot hose reels that are sitting up on the wall on both sides in case I need extension cords anyway. And we'll move on from there. By the way, I don't know how anybody in a shop live streams without one of these carts. I put wheels on my camera and I built that cart. I think the picture's on Instagram if you want to check it out. But it makes it super easy to get around the shop. Or at least, I don't know, it's easier for me. So over here is the main table saw area. Show you the whole thing. So it's the main table saw area. I've got just a work surface over here that also kind of functions as an outfeed table. It's just a plywood cart from Rockler with a sheet of melamine on it. It's temporary. Eventually I'd like to build a assembly table, but I'm trying to just kind of understand what the needs of my assembly table are going to be. So a lot of times I'll do these sort of temporary fixes in my shop. Not so much because I don't plan on permanently solving the problem or having a sophisticated solution for it, but just to really it's sort of like a prototype. It's okay, I threw this in here. So this sucks. What am I gonna do better when I do this permanently? Am I going to, do I like the height being slightly below or slightly above the table saw? Do I like obviously slightly below would be better. What kind of surface do I need? What kind of area do I need? Because I'm giving up some floor space for this. So what value can I squeeze out of this space? Starting to figure that out. Haven't really even started modeling my permanent assembly table, but something I'm going to think about. This all goes over my dust collection system, is that a hole? No, that's just a thing. And then I have the Laguna. It's the Fusion F3 table saw, which is the one they just came out with. I've got the 52-inch fence. I've got the big extension on it. I got all the upgrades. A lot of people are like, hey, why didn't you go with the saw stop? I would have loved to go with the saw stop, but honestly, to get the same setup from saw stop would have been probably $2,000 or $3,000 more. And honestly, fingers, very valuable. Yes, great. But if it's got a good overarm dust collection that's going to keep your hands away from the blade anyway, if it's got a blade guard that you're actually going to use, I've never had any close calls in that situation. If you keep your anti-kickback pawls and your blade guards on, I don't know how anybody could have a close call, but I've only been doing this for a little bit of time. I know a lot of people that do this way more frequently. I don't know. 6 one way, half dozen the other. Actually, probably, I mean, a saw stop, if you have the money, is going to be the safer saw, and it does everything. I mean, these are all the parts from these come out of similar factories. So, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough call between the two. But I ended up with the Laguna. I love it. I know a lot of people with the similar saw stop that also love it. So, I guess that's a personal opinion there. Over there, behind me, you see all these. Make sure I'm in shot still. Can you see me? Okay. Over here, I've started to cut the mortises and the tenons for the base of my new workbench, which, like I said, is kind of one of those projects that I'll leave out there for a while. I'll start to think about what things I need, what things I don't, and I think you're going to be pretty interested in the way that this comes out. Rather than, I'm not going to give away too many secrets. It's going to be really cool. You'll like it, or you'll hate it. Either way, it's going to be fun. It's my workbench. It's going to be good. So these are the red oak legs. All the mortises are now cut and chiseled. I probably need to do a little bit of refinement on them still. I got my mortising jig on the table saw dialed in for cutting the mortises, or for cutting the tenons, sorry. So those will hopefully fit without too much tweaking. We got that all rocking and rolling, ready to roll. And then, yeah, this is one more project. I got one more thing to show you, I think. Go over here. Get a little more. Okay, so this is my small parts bins. This is my most recent video. I think the link for it's down below. Just a simple rack. I've got the Husky parts bins up top here. I've got what are these, Stanley parts bins at the bottom here. I just bought a bunch of them when they were on sale, and these were actually sent to me by Home Depot. And then I've also got my socket set and some taps, which pleasantly surprised. These work very well on woods, hardwoods and softwoods, so happy about that. But yeah, small parts bins. And then last remote controlled item of the shop is this guy. This is my shop computer, which you may have seen the video for. I have fun doing computers, and I figured why not have one in the shop. So this is my computer, and yeah, it's cool. I like it. It's got the screen comes out of the top. This is both practical and cool. I like it because it keeps the dust out of the system. It's also got a keyboard tray here. And then I incorporated a bunch of storage, so I keep like my manuals for all my various tools here. I've got some of my computer building parts. I even got an empty drawer for whatever else I want to use it for. And these are all soft close drawers. I use some walnut from walnut plywood from Pure Bonds to get a nice continuous grain pattern across the front here. Woo. And then I've also got an integrated stool seat here if I need that, but it's kind of a pain to put back in, so I'm just gonna leave it in there. I usually just use it at the standing height, so it's fine, works perfectly. It's got a nice leather top too, so if I need to do any like sort of fine detail work, I can also just put the computer back away, and I've got another work surface. So, good stuff. The mechanism was pretty easy to install. I wish that it didn't I wish it pulled down to a consistent height, because sometimes it pulls this thing perfectly flush, and sometimes it's slightly non-flush with the top. But whatever, you know. I tried to tune it up to make it as good as I could. But yeah, there we go. That's my shop. This is my shop, I guess. It's a cool place. It's always kind of a work in progress. I love it though. I recently also moved my, I guess I do have one more remote control. Which one? This one? So I've got my air cleaner over top that I can just turn on whenever I need to. I keep all these remotes. Well, the dust collection remote stays on the table saw in case I need it. All the other remotes stay by the front door, so I can just grab them and set them back when I'm done. But yeah, that's the shop. Glad you guys could check it out. Let's see what we got. Looks like a solid start for a workbench. Yes, 5 by 5 inch legs should be a pretty good start for a workbench. hopefully, right? The big thing that I'm trying to do is just have as much mass as possible so that I can, as much mass as possible in the legs so that it doesn't wiggle. When did you hit the lottery? Big screen, this is lots of years of work. I've bought a lot of this through selling projects, through selling plans, through selling merchandise, through sponsorships, through just views on YouTube. I try to invest most of what I make from the channel back into the shop, back into the channel to give you guys better, video quality out of new cameras, better microphones, lavalier mics, my streaming laptop. It's expensive to run a channel well, but it's fun. Actually, it doesn't have to be expensive to run a channel well. I'm really into like the audio video quality and the tech side of things. So that's my own cross to bear, I suppose. But yeah, this has just been many years of building up this shop over time. Let's see if I can get a wide shot on the shop from here. Yeah, so this has been many years of just working on the shop over time. Every little bit counts though. Selling a project, when you have a new project to build, making sure that you're reinvesting some of what you make out of that project back into the thing that made you the money. That's just a classic good business. It's just if something's making you money, you should probably spend more money on the things that make you that thing that makes you money so you can make more money faster. I hope that helps. So let's jump into the makers of the week. Switch my stream real quick here. Boop. And, all right, so the first maker of the week this week is a good buddy of mine, Bruce, Brew Daddy. He makes a lot of cool stuff, and he's just really passionate about the way he puts stuff together. Even his photos on Instagram are just super high quality. Funny story, we've actually slept in the same bed. On the first workbench that we went to together, we split a hotel room with 4 guys, and Bruce and I ended up bunking together. It was actually the first time I ever met him. I got a little toasty that night though, and Bruce said I snore when I'm toasty, so I guess that. But go check him out at Brew Daddy on Instagram. He's got a YouTube channel as well, Brew Daddy. Very nice guy. Tell him Rick sent you. The next guy is another good friend of mine. This is William Walker from WM Walker Co. William Walker Co. and Old Timiness. And he makes a lot of really cool stuff. One of his upcoming projects is going to be this, which is some timber framing. And honestly, it hurt me right in the chisels when I saw this. Even carving the mortises into 5-inch oak was a pain. I can't imagine what it would be like to carve into that big, but at least it's cedar, so at least I've got that going for me, right? But he builds some really cool stuff. He's working on the pool house lately. He's been doing a lot of milling with his new Grizzly bandsaw mill. Works with live edges a lot, has a lot of Nakashima inspiration in his projects, plays a mean guitar. Just a really cool guy. Go check out William Walker. Tell him I sent you. He's a good dude. And then this guy, I don't think he needs any introduction if you're into woodworking, but he recently was just actually called out by Nick Offerman, who's the celebrity crossover woodworker. He called out Nick Offerman Nick Offerman called him out at an interview, and I put the quote down below, but he says this. Can you imagine reading this about yourself? Probably the greatest furniture maker. I mean, is there higher praise? That's pretty awesome. But yeah, Caleb James, he makes some phenomenal stuff. He makes some of the nicest spoke shaves that you're ever gonna see. He does a lot of phenomenal chair building, and chair building seems simple, but it's one of the most complex arts in woodcraft. So check him out. Phenomenal designer, phenomenal builder, just some great stuff. Really cool. Never met the guy, but I would love to. He does teach classes, I think, sometimes. So maybe I'll try to catch one of those one of these days after the virus, I suppose. Back to the stream. This might be a short one today since we just had the shop tour. Go back to Q&A. Does anybody have any questions for me? Looks like we've got a little bit limited turnout today. I don't know if everybody was expecting this to be on Sunday again or what happened, but whatever. It's fun. I've got a lot of work to do today anyway, so if there's not many questions or not many people on stream, no big deal, but go ahead and like the stream. Let me know if you have any questions for me. I'm got this chat right in front of me and happy to address anything if anybody's got any questions about the shop, any questions about ongoing projects, any questions about the workbench that I'm working on, whatever, just let me know. I'm happy to answer anything at this point. I'll leave it open for like 5 or 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'll just ramble on. So you can see behind me, another thing I guess I didn't talk about over here. I've got this overhead storage. I keep a bunch of totes with sort of like overflow, less often used tools. And then behind that is actually some lumber storage. That's like a full 4x8 lofted space that I use for storage. And then I also love these 2 little fans that I keep. These are just some industrial like steel blade fans. I've got 2 of them in the shop just to keep the air moving. And then also on the back wall there, you can see up top, that's just, so luckily, unluckily, whatever, somebody drilled an 8-inch hole in one of the rim joists of the garage. That 8-inch hole goes right down to the unfinished part of my basement into my utility space. And I've got a good friend who's a HVAC contractor. I called him and said, hey, can I run an HVAC pipe into here? And he's like, yeah, we'll put a backflow valve on it. Everything's good. So I've got a nice 8-inch return coming up here. Reduces down to a 6-inch, and I've got 2 vents that are piping just a little bit of AC into this space. I don't want to waste much, but it blows a little bit, so doesn't have any heat sensors in here. It's got a baffle on it so that the air from the shop doesn't get back into the house, and then it's got but then I use the 2 fans to just kind of distribute the air conditioning across the shop to keep it a little more comfortable in here. This is actually one of the hottest days of the year, and it's a little spicy in here, but it couldn't be more than like maybe 77, 78, which is nice when it's like a 95, 97 outside. Not too bad. It doesn't look like we have a lot of people with a lot of questions today, though. If that's the case, I don't know, we'll end the stream. What do you guys want to see me build next week? Does anybody have any recommendations for what we should build next week? Anything fun? You've seen all my dirty secrets in my shop, so is there anything that you think I need to address? I mean, the one thing I really want to build at some point is a new CNC station, because with this 7-foot, 8-foot tall monstrosity on 2x4s, it just doesn't really fit what I want to have in my shop. I don't like having all that high space. It just feels kind of imposing, and it also restricts my use of the bandsaw a little bit. So I want to build something a little bit lower, to where I can actually operate the bandsaw on top of it is my thought, but we'll see. Over top of it, not on top of it. Cool. Well, if there's no questions, thanks for joining me on this Saturday Mo and Joe. I really appreciate all you guys joining in. If there's anything else you guys want to ask me, you can check me out on Facebook, or not on Facebook. Facebook is a place that I post, but I'm not on there very often. But check me out on Instagram or Twitter, at the WoodWorkLIFE on Instagram. WoodWorkLIFE on Twitter. Send me a message, send me a question, anything you got, I'd be happy to answer. I usually respond to most things on there. And check me out on YouTube, WoodWorkLIFE. If you enjoyed this live stream, I do these every weekend. Debating between Saturday and Sunday still. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do this. Maybe I'll just alternate, who knows. And then my next video is going to be the dust collection install, followed by the workbench build. So thanks for joining me today on Mo and Joe. I'm Rick with WoodWorkLIFE. Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember to keep your tools sharp and keep your mind sharper. Have a good weekend.